The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento, an activist street fighter with earned degrees in law enforcement, theology, and philosophy. Listen and watch every weekday at 2 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and TrentoVision.com. Now, let's take a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
It was a beautiful sunny morning. You can look over the horizon, see the waves gently undulating throughout your panorama, throughout your view. Breakfast was being served, and life was routine, nothing strange. In fact, some in line were getting their second helping of eggs and bacon. Some were just refreshing their coffee. Some were just sitting and chatting, dealing with the boredom that was present in the room. It was a beautiful day, October 12, today, 12 years ago. It was a beautiful day on October 12, 2000, as men and women were enjoying their breakfast in the ship's galley. Little did 17 of them know that in the next moment they would be dead, and 39 of them would be severely injured. On that day, October 12, 2000, little did the men and women in uniform on the USS Cole, docked in Yemen, the port of Aachen. Little did they know that a couple of jihadis with a little rubber boat filled with about 700 pounds of explosives chose on that day to believe they would be rewarded with 72 virgins each by killing the infidel aboard the USS Cole 12 years ago today. As they piloted their little rubber raft, waving to those on deck, life just seemed like any other day in a port during a refueling. But it was different on this day, because those on board that little rubber raft wanted to exercise their belief in their religion that when you kill people, you please God. You see, a couple of guys in that boat truly believed that when you kill innocent people, then your God, Allah, rewards you. And they loaded the boat up and drove right next to it, waving to the sailors on deck. And in literally a flash, a 40 by 40 foot hole. Take 4 tractor trailers that are 40 feet long. They're about 10 feet high. Put 4 of them on top of one another. That's the size of the hole blown into the USS Cole by the two jihadis. On the other side of the wall where the bomb blast penetrated, the soldiers, the sailors, the ladies, the cooks were in the galley eating breakfast. And that galley took the full brunt of that explosion. 17 killed immediately, 39 severely injured. That occurred 12 years ago today, ladies and gentlemen. Life is moving very, very quickly. That we seem to forget the jihadi attacks against the United States of America. Well, we want to just pause for a moment here to remember when you do something in opposition to your belief system. But when you follow your belief system, you're a fundamentalist. You're a good Muslim when you follow the dictates of Islam, which say to kill the infidel, particularly those who are in uniform in the United States. Had fatwas issued, thereby allowing Muslim jihadis to kill Americans, particularly those in uniform. And on this day, 2 years later, two of them succeeded in killing 17 sailors, injuring 39, virtually destroying the USS Cole, and putting on notice the United States government that we got a very serious, very determined, very effective, very efficient enemy on our hands. And it's 12 years to the day later. And we're fighting the same enemy. And I have to say, based upon what I know about this stuff, which is quite a bit, the enemy has advanced exponentially in the last 3 years, unlike any enemy combatant I've ever seen or studied in any war anywhere. And much of the advance of the Islamic Jihad in the globe and in America is due to the unique communication capabilities that the bad guys now have for command and control and organization. This little tiny iPhone right here can be used to bring down governments at this point when you have a determined mass of people. In any event, as we pause for reflection at the start of our show today, for those injured and killed on the USS Cole 12 years ago today, watch this day, folks. These days are important to Al-Qaeda. And it is Al-Qaeda that prosecuted that attack. We know now we have captured and killed some of the cell members. In fact, one of the cell members was captured under the Bush administration and snatched up, brought to Gitmo, Guantanamo Bay, about 90 miles, about a couple hundred miles from where we're sitting now. And the mastermind of the Cole bombing, Muslim jihadi, underwent, it was later found out through evidence, the poor soul underwent waterboarding. And the left in the United States, Democratic left, went nuts. The liberal left went nuts, learning that the poor soul who mastermind killing 17 sailors and injuring 39 and doing $1 billion damage, and virtually in one day, 12 years ago today, advancing the cause of Islamic Jihad, the poor soul that masterminded that, we scared him by pouring water on his face so that he would talk, and George Bush was excoriated for allowing enhanced interrogation techniques. Give me a break. These people are savages in the pure sense. We used to call American Indians savages. Why? Because they would cut your scalp off and do things that in civilized warfare weren't known in the West. When you killed your enemy, then you actually grieved in a sense, in some respect, and you would even participate in burying the other people. There was a sense of Western warfare. And when we come to the Indians, the Native Americans, fighting the American armies, and some of the tactics and techniques of the Indians were viewed as savage, as something less than civilized. And that was rightfully low. It was rightfully correct. It was a term of distinction between civilized, if you will, warfare. Well, that's what we have with Islamic jihadis today. These folks are savages, and they relish that appellation. They relish that distinction because it does what the Quran says. It strikes fear in the heart of the infidel. That's what savagery does. Well, we're also familiar with many of the special operators in America. And though they cannot be classified as savages, they are violent, brutal men who seek to visit violence and justice upon the savages in a civilized way. But for the restraints and restrictions put upon them by this administration, I would be saying something different today, that we are on the leading edge of winning the war against Islamic Jihad, but we're not. And today's show, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a look at a couple of factors to prove the point I just made, that we are losing the war against the Islamic Jihadis because of this administration's mishandling of foreign policy and national security. And if you don't think what I'm saying is true, you weren't watching television last night when Joe the Smile Biden, I heard somebody say, it's just classic, they said, as commentary in light of the debate last night, they said that if they owned a casino, a Vegas casino, Joe Biden would be their perfect guy. Big flower on his lapel, a cigarette, his big smile, beautiful $3,000 suit. He'd be the perfect guy to put at the front door, welcoming the high rollers. That's where you want Joe Biden if you own a Vegas casino. But that fellow who said that also said, but Paul Ryan, I'd have him running the casino. And that's what you saw last night. You saw a politician, Joe Biden, versus a policy tactician. Don't miss the distinction between those two words. You saw a politician, a guy who knows how to schmooze and cut deals and I've been all over the place. I know how to get this stuff done, Joe Biden. And a policy tactician who illustrated the term statesman. You saw Paul Ryan, a 42-year-old guy, not inexperienced by any means. He's been in the Congress for 14 years. He is an accomplished statesman and individual that can take policy issues, can negotiate, do all of this in a respectful I'm dying. In a respectful manner. Excuse me, got to get a drink. Okay, I'm coming back to life. You saw the distinction between the statesman, policy tactician, and a good old boy. I've been there. I know everything, Joe Biden. And we're going to illustrate that distinction with the words of Mr. Vice President Biden himself in today's show. We've got a whole bunch of different interesting things for you. You are at WNN 1470 on your AM dial, broadcasting out of Boca Raton, Florida. You are also, I got water, I'm good, thanks. I had I don't know what it was, but it's going away. Whatever it is, it's going away. And we're also broadcasting on TrentoVision.tv. If you're near a computer or smartphone, you can actually go to TrentoVision.tv and watch this thing on your little iPhone while you're sitting somewhere in a restaurant just hanging out. You can do that. As you know, you can listen at 8 o'clock tonight. It's replayed at WNN, iHeartRadio. Download that app. You can go to our website, TrentoVision.tv. All this information is there. And if you listened earlier this morning, you heard our team at Steve Kane's studio. We went there the 8 to 9 hour to discuss some of these issues with our good friends Brian and Steve. As you know, if you're following what we do from 6 to 9, God, that's early for getting up and getting shows ready, 6 to 9. They're there pounding this president, and we take over at 2 to 3, and then we continue with our writing, our videos. We're going to tell you about some of those today. But ladies and gentlemen, notwithstanding the 12th anniversary of the attack on the Call, and this is an alert to all Americans everywhere. In the Islamic mindset, something the administration absolutely doesn't understand, these dates are significant and symbolic. We here at Trento Vision United West, we would not be surprised if there were another similar attack somewhere today on the earth, basically memorializing and celebrating the October 12, 2000 attack of the USS Cole in the Aden Harbor in Yemen as it was refueling. Keep your eyes out for that. And those of you who are listening somewhere around the world, because the simulcast video signal goes all over the place, if you're in uniform, be careful today. It's a big day for Islam. Big victory for them 12 years ago. All right, we got a lot of stuff for you. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good, Tom.
I'm going to get a little thing down here as we move around a bit. I have my secret little bag down below. I'm going to get a cough drop. Like everybody's sick in my house. I'm not, though. I feel great. I feel so good that I, on a scale of 1 to 7, I'm a 7. You know that? You know why I'm a 7?
Why are you 7, Tom?
That's the number of percentage points that Mitt Romney is ahead of the former president in 26 days. We'll say the former president, because in 25 days is the election, 25 days from today. Florida, ladies and gentlemen, mark this down. Say bye-bye to your Democrat friends who think they're going to have another 4 years. It ain't happening. Florida has polled today. How are these polls? These are actually very serious polls because they show a tremendous shift in public opinion. Florida is 7 points ahead Mitt Romney over Barack Obama. Why? Because here's what's happening. All the undecided folks, which I can't even understand why people would be undecided. They haven't been paying attention. It's better to call them all the folks that haven't been paying attention. They're finally starting to pay attention, and they have to make a decision on something. And the two things have happened in the past 2 weeks, two developments. One, the first debate, where Barack Obama got his skinny little butt whipped by the Mormon, the Mormon little guy. Everything's his hair is in place and all this stuff. And he's a good little goody two-shoes little guy who made $250 million. That guy kicked the skinny little butt of Barack Obama. And the undecided said, whoa, this guy's smart. He's good. He's intelligent. And the guy that he's fighting against is like MIA. That happened. But on a more serious note, what happened is the absolute criminal behavior. Criminal behavior. I'm going to read you something in a little bit called misprision of treason. The criminal behavior by this administration. And we're gonna dig into the debate. We're gonna have a little fun with this debate, even though it's very serious stuff. We're gonna have a little bit of fun with it. And as we do here at Trento Vision, we're gonna start with the good book. Okay, I'm gonna read you something out of Proverbs. You all know Proverbs. I'll tell you what's a good little practice to do. I do it in your daily devotional reading. If you don't have a set format, whether you're Jewish, Christian, whatever. Each day, there's 31 Proverbs, so each day, whatever the day is, read that particular proverb. Today's the 12th. You can read the 12th. And I guarantee you always get something out of it. But this proverb comes out of 29. Proverbs 29, verse 9. It says, and this is just perfect for what happened last night, it says, when a wise man has a debate with a foolish man, when a wise man has a debate with a foolish man, the foolish man either laughs or rages, and there is no rest. Okay.
There was a lot of laughing going on last night.
Yes, if you watched, you saw Smiley Biden. That's probably a good name for him, Smiley Biden. You saw Smiley Biden laughing his head off, and you got to love split screen technology. I think what we saw last night, ladies and gentlemen, was the smiling of the retirement of Joe Biden. He smiled his way to a golden retirement where he and Bill Clinton, those guys, I guarantee it. I guarantee all our listeners and viewers, when Biden gets retired in 26 days, he's going to hook up with Bill Clinton, and they're going to be two wild and crazy guys globe-trotting, running their parties, running their scams all over the place. They're just two peas in a pod, and the women are going to love them. The women are going to love both of those guys.
You know, there's even a website called SmilingBiden.com, and it just went crazy.
Smiling Biden? Go to SmilingBiden.com, whatever is there. Man, that guy, with all due respect, I think he's had every kind of procedure, every tune-up a 69-year-old face can have. Dennis Miller said something to the effect that his hair plugs, they drilled down so far, they went into parts of his gray matter and kind of created problems. But the proverb says it right. When you debate with a foolish man, the foolish man either laughs or rages. And from someone who's been in a lot of debates, when you're dealing with issues with the other side, they will try to laugh you off because they're very uncomfortable and unsure in their position, or they'll get very angry at you. In either case, there's no rest. I mean, they don't stop. You got to deal with these people all the time. And we're finding that here at Trento Vision United West, having to deal with serious Obama supporters, and you ask specific questions, and once you get past one or two of the talking points they understand or remember, then they get mad at you. They get mad at you, and they laugh at you, or they get mad at you. But let's dig down a little bit. Oh, in a second, we're going to dig down a little bit into the debate. But we just released on the United West side, folks, the United West. For those of you who just are tuning in, my name is Tom Trento. I know some people tune in at the bottom of the hour. And we have a show every day, 2 to 3 East Coast time. Obviously, if you do the math, different times. Our show's at the same time, but people around the world watch it differently. Or you can watch it on our website, TrentoVision.tv. It's always archived about an hour or so after the show. If you're tuning in, our goal, particularly on the United West side, we're a counterterrorism organization that typically hunts down the Muslim Brotherhood to expose their seditious program and try to shut them down. That's what we've been doing for years because we believe they're terrorist supporters. Many of them are indeed terrorist Muslim brothers in the United States. But over the past few months, we decided to focus our attention on educating voters on national security, foreign policy issues to vote intelligently in 25 days. And against that backdrop, we sent out a video today, a phenomenal video. Is it up on the United West?
No, I think it's the other video still up there right now.
Okay.
There.
The video on the UnitedWest.org is the meltdown. Go look at the meltdown of the Obama administration and of President Obama. It's a 40-second kind of a tongue-in-cheek little thing we did. But a very serious video we just put out about 2 hours ago is an interview that we had with the Deputy Speaker of the Knesset. The Knesset is the parliament, the ruling government body in Israel. The Deputy Speaker, top guy, sort of a right-hand man to Benjamin Netanyahu, Danny Danon. He was in town with a group of about 10 mayors from various cities in Israel. And he was here going around with Alan West doing speaking presentations and engagements. We had a great opportunity to take 5 minutes, interview Danny Danon, and we put a 2-minute video up. You got to go watch it. It's entitled Israeli Leader, and then in quotes, Obama is no friend of Israel. Notwithstanding Smiley Joe's, hey, me and Bibi did this, me and Bibi did that, me and Bibi are tight, me and Bibi are homies. In spite of all of that last night, a member of the Knesset who works with Benjamin Netanyahu said, this administration, and in particular this president, is not and are not friends with Israel. Not any way, shape, or form. And we put that message out for all the Jewish folks out there that are stuck, glued, soldered to President Obama.
This is the way that Bibi Netanyahu gets the message out. He can't come out directly and say it personally because he's representing Israel. So it has to go through backdoor channels to get this message out. He can't come out and say it directly.
Yeah, and Danny Danon maintained he's not interfering in American politics. He's simply supporting a good friend of his and saying what he thinks. He's an American. He has the First Amendment right to say whatever he wants to. And he said, you people select whomever you want. I'm just telling you that this president is not a friend and has not been a friend since he came in of Israel. We put that video out. And then I asked him, I said, what about these Christians, these crazy Christians that want to, as Mark Allen Siegel, whom we've debated, myself and Alan Bergstein, several times, said, oh, the Christians just want to get all the Jews in Jerusalem and then set them on fire or whatever he said. Well, I asked Danny Danon, I said, what's the view from the Israeli point of view of Christians? He goes, we love you. We love you. Come to Israel. Be with us. And then, so they love us as people coming over there, our love for the biblical land and all of that. And we bring money, I'm sure. It doesn't hurt. But then he went on to say, we stand together because we have the same principles to fight jihad, basically, fight evil. Go look at that video. Very, very important. But it all contradicts. What does that mean?
30 minutes.
Yeah, I've got a clock here.
Oh, okay.
It all contradicts what we're going to do right now in light of Joe Biden's comments yesterday. So we're going to play a couple of clips. I think you're going to see them on the TV side, TrentoVision.tv. We're going to put them up. They're news clips from last night. And you got to love Chris Matthews. That guy's all over the place. I mean, he must drive home in his car and go, no, what am I supposed to do? He drives off the side of the road and comes back on. He reminds me of John Belushi and all of his sketches on Saturday Night Live. He just gets this tempo that increases, and then he kind of collapses.
They do a great mimicry of him on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, that would be great. Oh, they do. That's right. I've seen it, yeah. What's the first one we have up? Let's put up Chris Matthews and his analysis of the debate. Then we will give you our analysis of Chris Matthews' analysis of the debate.
A couple points. I think the way I'm scoring it, and I hope this is clear, on Benghazi, I give that to Ryan. On economics, I give it a draw. On Medicare, all Biden. On taxes fairness, all Biden. On Afghanistan, another draw. On Syria, another draw. Abortion, all Biden.
Okay.
Play that again, okay? Listen carefully. Here's what I want you to listen to. He's scoring the various topics that were addressed during the debate. And if you don't listen carefully, and even you guys driving, you can listen and you can watch, you guys watching on TV here. And listen, there's two elements we want to draw attention to. One, the topics in and of themselves, the quantitative value and importance on a global scale of the topics, and then the unique way in which the topics line up for the Democrats. Go ahead, Mark, play it again.
A couple points. I think the way I'm scoring it, and I hope this is clear, on Benghazi, I give that to Ryan. On economics, I give it a draw. On Medicare, all Biden. On taxes fairness, all Biden. On Afghanistan, another draw. On Syria, another draw. Abortion, all Biden.
Okay. What you saw was the issues of foreign policy and national security go to the Republican side. On Benghazi, he says Paul Ryan, who does not have the entree to intelligence, does not have the entree to the military, doesn't have the entree that Smiley Biden does, being the vice president of the United States of America. Chris Matthews says on Benghazi. Now, Benghazi, for those of you who don't know, this is a debacle. It's got a gate at the end of it to connect it to Watergate. It's a failure of immense proportion on the administration's part, and it is single-handedly, the issue is single-handedly tearing apart this administration internally. There's a huge fight, we know, and I'm going to give you a little piece of inside information in a second here. We know it's tearing apart the administration as they battle the intelligence community. What is the intelligence community? We have an unbelievable intelligence infrastructure. Okay. We have an unbelievable intelligence infrastructure in the United States, starting with the Central Intelligence Agency and the National Security Agency and all these different three-letter alphabet entities, and the State Department down in Foggy Bottom at the bottom of Constitution Avenue. So you got the State Department, which is their job is to be the liaison to the various 193 nations around the world. You got the intelligence community, geared toward protecting America on a foreign and domestic basis, and the White House, the executive branch, to bring all of this together in a harmonious whole, W-H-O-L-E. Really, it's a H-O-L-E right now. The administration has dug themselves in a hole to the extent that Jay Carney, who knows who Jay Carney is?
Our famous, or infamous White House
Press Secretary. Jay Carney's the press secretary. Today I told everybody here that he probably put on 2 pair of diapers today to go before the press corps. And if you read the press reports, he is disassembling, walking back, nuancing Joe Biden's remarks, which we're going to let you hear in a moment, because Joe Biden yesterday threw the intelligence community under the same bus that he threw Israel under. So all the entities that start with I, intelligence community in Israel, get thrown under the bus by Smiley Biden. That's what's happening.
We actually have another clip of that right now. We got it sent by CJ. I think it'd be good to play right now.
Let's play it.
A couple points. I think the way I'm scoring it, and I hope this is clear.
Our show today is analyzing the debate, but putting it in the context of educating voters. And we have 2 groups of voters that we're seriously interested in providing information so you can vote intelligently, ladies and gentlemen. One are the 1 million Christians in the state of Florida that simply do not make it out to the polls. We've got to have you get there, folks. We're talking about Western civilization. What's that? Okay.
We will play it for you.
Okay, when it's ready. And the other one are the veterans. We have 1.6 million veterans in the state of Florida. About half of you in 2008 voted for President Obama. Our job is to convince you not to do that this time, based upon you're a veteran because you put on the uniform, whether you volunteered or whether you were conscripted, grabbed by the scruff of your neck, but you made it through. You did what you had to do. You're enjoying some of the benefits of that because you made a commitment and you fulfilled the commitment. But more importantly than the benefits of that are the essential principles of why you went into the service, whether you fought in World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, or whether you were prepared to fight in any war, Iraq, Desert Storm, Afghanistan, or whether you're in right now, prepared to. You did that because you believe in the principles of the United States of America, that we are a unified country. We believe in freedom. We believe in strength. I think you got that ready?
Yes.
Okay. We're appealing to you guys, veterans and Christians, and we're showing that this administration has failed to properly have policies that protect Americans abroad and here as it relates to Islamic Jihad. Play this, Mark. Okay, was that Fox News?
That was actually that very right-wing organization called CBS.
CBS, that's amazing. They're the ones that did a hit piece on George Bush before 2000, before the election in 2000, and got caught doing that. But they got this one right. What you just heard, ladies and gentlemen, is they being the White House may have to do some cleaning up on Libya. Here's what that means. Why is this important? Because in 25 days you have to select someone to lead this country into the most dangerous 4 years that I think I've ever seen in the United States of America. And do we want a team, President Obama and Joe Biden? I just can't stop. After Biden's performance last night, I can't stop thinking of these guys as Peter Lawford and Sammy Davis Jr. of the Rat Pack. Yeah. They both remind me as two smooth operators. And SNL, Saturday Night Live, does a great bit with Obama being a cool guy, you know? Well, they remind me, both of them, like all this stuff, all this intelligence and all of that. What do we got to read these reports for? Let's go to Vegas. Let's go to Hollywood. Let's go party.
Is this part of these security briefings he's been skipping for the last who knows what months?
He's made about 25% of the daily intelligence briefs that he gets. George Bush went to every one of them 100%. President Obama and what his staff says is, oh, he reads them on the run and he gets the material but doesn't actually go to the meetings to do it because he's elsewhere. But what CBS just said was the White House, that means Jay Carney, the young guy who's the press secretary. That's got to be the worst job in the world, press secretary for a bunch of liars. He may have to do some cleaning up. Here's the cleaning up. Now, picture three entities, three departments that are supposed to be working together, okay? It's like you have a little business and you got three franchises of your business. They're all supposed to be working together, but all of a sudden they start fighting with each other. How good is that going to be for business? Well, last night, Joe Biden, when asked by Martha Raddatz, when asked whether or not this was the Benghazi event where 4 Americans were killed in a terrorist attack on 9/11, whether or not that was a intelligence failure of massive proportion. Smiley Joe's first response was, well, it was a sad day, it really was, and he never answered whether or not it was a massive intelligence failure. But what he did say was that we were operating on the intelligence given to us by our intelligence community. And what is the brunt of that? The brunt of that is that the administration kept saying it was not a terrorist attack. It was a spontaneous crowd that developed over innocence of Muslims. the 13-minute trailer that had been released in June, September 11th, June, July, August, September, 3 months later, 6,000 views. A goofy 13-minute trailer making fun of Mohammed really was the cause of the attack of the embassy in Cairo, Egypt, and was the cause of the attack on the consulate. The consulate's not the embassy. The embassy in Libya is in Tripoli. The consulate is an administrative building, because they weren't at the embassy, they were at the consulate. How'd they know that? That's interesting. We know how they knew that. There were people inside the wire. There were agents that were exposing that information for the al-Qaeda cells that eventually attacked and sighted in their mortar rounds. They knew right where they were. They knew where the positions were because it was a terrorist attack. But Biden said, it was the movie, and because the intelligence community told us that. And the State Department today, Jay Carney, in cleaning that up, said that when Joe Biden, Smiley Joe, said last night, this is what we were given. We were given this information that the cause of the rioting and the killing was the movie. We were given that by our intelligence community. Jay Carney said, now, if you need a reason not to vote for President Obama and Joe Biden, here's the reason. Jay Carney said the we were not given it, didn't refer to the collective administration, the Obama administration. It referred to Barack and Joe. Me and Barack weren't given anything. And if you were at that press conference today, your eyes would be rolling going, what is this guy talking about? He said we, meaning the administration, but now Jay Carney says, oh, no. He only meant Barack and him.
We're giving it.
Okay, why weren't you given it? Because you weren't around. You were campaigning somewhere. You didn't take the time to do the due diligence to understand the intelligence. You were MIA, misprision of treason. I'm going to read that for you right now.
Well, before you go into that, just the intelligence that they're talking about. I mean, Tom, you figured it out, and I figured it out within 10 minutes of this, and we don't have nearly the resources these people do, and it was a ridiculous excuse. Now,
yeah, I mean, figured out. Mark's saying we figured it out. Well, what we figured out, this is really hard to do. You really got to be like James Bond to figure this out. Let's see. People are lighting our embassy on fire, ripping the fence down, and raising the black flag of Al-Qaeda with the Shahida on it on September 11th. Okay. Does this have anything to do with that date, right? And then a couple of hours later, there's a coordinated command and control 3-point military attack against an embassy. And this came out against the consulate. This came out very, very quickly, that heavy armament and equipment was used. And by day...
That's a clue.
Yeah. RPGs, 50 caliber machine guns. Yes, the people that were so upset about innocence of Muslims, making fun of Mohammed.
The one that got 6,000 hits on YouTube.
Yeah, they ran and got their 50 cal, out of the garage and got 40 of their friends with RPGs, with mortars, with communication gear, with smoke, with everything else, said, let's go protest this movie in Benghazi. Benghazi, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Benghazi means city of holy warriors. Okay, that's a clue. This administration put in charge of the perimeter and compound security of the embassy and the consulate a group called the February 17th Martyrs Brigade. You see, Benghazi is a city of about 600,000 people in Libya, and it was the launching pad for jihadis to go into Iraq to fight American soldiers and kill them. Per capita, more people came out of Benghazi than any other of the foreign countries, the foreign fighters coming in. This is known. This is a cesspool of jihad activity. We knew this. Team B, the folks I'm on, all while the revolution was going on last year, which started February 17, 2011, all the Team B people are going, keep out of there. Let them cut each other's throats. Let Gaddafi squash the savages. Otherwise, they're going to take over. They're going to get his weapons, his chemical weapons, and all hell is going to break loose. We were saying this a year and a half ago. Joe Biden still hasn't figured it out. Oh, my God.
And if it wasn't Al-Qaeda, if it was just a bunch of people out there, they have RPGs and rocket and machine gun, we got a lot bigger problems than Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I mean, if these are street thugs
with RPGs and machine, we got a lot
with heavy artillery. We got a little problem in Libya there, President Obama. But if you need a reason not to vote, if you're going to go, help me out, Tom, help me out. Look at Vice President Biden being completely clueless on this, and now the White House has to walk it back, as it's called. But listen to this definition. I want you to learn this term. It's called misprision, not prison, but prision. It's an old English term, misprision of treason. And I'll read it, and then I'll explain it. In the United States, misprision of treason is a federal offense, still on the books. It's a federal offense committed when someone who has knowledge of the commission of any treason, there's various levels of treason, which is doing something against the interest of your country. Any commission of any treason, it can be conspiracy or it can be active participation. You have knowledge of the commission of any treason against the United States, and you conceal that knowledge, and you do not inform the president. How about when the president does it? You do not inform the president, a federal judge, or state governor, or state judge, then you have committed misprision of treason, punishable by a fine and up to 7 years in federal prison. You see, that statute is based upon another statute which says that when you're a public official, and I explained this the other day a bit, when you're a public official entrusted with running the country, as Joe Biden and President Obama are, you don't have the right to make mistakes. You have a professional obligation to get it right because you've been placed in a position that assumes and requires a minimal level of professional responsibility. When you can't get your own intelligence briefs correct about a country that we shouldn't even have been in, Libya, but we're in now, on 9/11, and the lives of 4 Americans are taken because of your mishandling and misunderstanding of the intelligence and threat level of the situation, you got to go. In fact, there shouldn't even be an election. You guys should just say, Trento's right, we're out here. We resign. I'll pick you guys up and drive you wherever you want to go. You ought to resign and get out of here for failing miserably. Now you're lying on top of failing. Why? Why? Because you love power. You Democrats love power when you get in because you've abandoned principles. It's that simple. And power replaces principles. You're going down, guys. We're going to beat you. We're ahead by 7 points. Why do we need to beat you? Not to have power, to return this country to the rule of law, to principle, and to clean up the mess. You talk about cleaning up stuff, Jay Carney. Well, you, Jay Carney, are going to write a book, and you're going to reveal all of this in 2 years, and we're going to smack you around when we see you because you should have been reporting it right now.
And this misprision of treason that you're talking about, Tom, I mean, you can relate that to a doctor who cuts off the wrong leg, or
you're out of here, doc.
I mean, what do you do with those type of doctors? You put them in jail. You take away their license. And we have a president that's just, cutting off people's legs and arms without any.
The decisions and the practices of this administration, this president, are resulting in dead people all over the place. And don't give me, we're getting out of Afghanistan, all of that. All we're doing is creating a worse situation in Afghanistan because of the projection of weakness, a complete weakness. And we're in future shows, we're going to do a lot of work on the rules of engagement. We're going to beat the hell out of all the listeners and viewers as it relates to national security to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that this administration, Susan Rice, Axelrod, Valerie Jarrett, every one of them, do not have America's best interests at heart, and we don't pick up guns to have a revolution in America. Our revolution is in the ballot box in 25 days from today, and here's what we'd like you guys to do. We got a great idea. We want everybody out there to get involved. Scott Spages was on our show the other day. Jack Gillis is looking for people to make phone calls. We need workers to go out for Mitt Romney, for Adam Hasner, Alan West, Karen Harrington. All these good people that are running, they need workers. Contact their campaigns. You know what you can do as a symbolic gesture to show the uniform commitment to changing this administration? Take out a little American flag. And I have one flying all the time at my house, but put it down in your yard. Fly an American flag. We'll make it sort of our little secret that you are part of the waving team. Symbolically saying we've got to get back to this red, white, and blue. Why don't you do that? Maybe you got one other quick clip, or do we have any callers on the line? I didn't even.
Well, you wanted to bring up the Paul Vallely thing.
Oh, let me.
Well, if you vote for Romney, stick a flag in the ground. That'll be our little secret. Yeah, that'll be great.
Get a flag in the ground, and none of these flags with the Obama-style flags, where they take the U.S. flag and put an O in there. That's disgraceful, I think. But anyway. Let me read this to you guys. This is very cool, very important. Again, if you're tuning in now, my name is Tom Trento. We're on TrentoVision.tv. We are dealing with national security, and not just to explain what national security means, but to inform voters that this administration has failed on national security issues, and so that you vote intelligently on November 6th, 25 days from today. In our work, we get an opportunity to hang out and spend some time with some people who have been very involved in the military, law enforcement, or the intelligence community. One of them is a good friend of mine, Paul Vallely, Lieutenant General Paul Vallely.
Team B2 co-author.
No,
he's not.
No, he wasn't one.
Oh, okay.
He should have been one. If there were 20, he would have been one. But he runs a great organization, and he sent out a release yesterday, to a few of us, and he basically said that there's a whistleblower now in the administration, and the whistleblower has come forward and testified to some folks that President Obama did not know of the raid at Abbottabad. Abbottabad, Pakistan, is where UBL was, Osama bin Laden. He did not know that raid was taking place by DevGru SEAL Team 6. We shouldn't even know that name, but we know it now.
Hold on. Are you saying that President Obama had no knowledge of the raid to kill Obama, precursor-wise?
Well, what Vallely is saying, and we're going to have to pick this up tomorrow, our time is slipping away. We need a 3-hour show is what we need. You know what? I'm going to save this. Well, it's not tomorrow. I'll tell you what it is, but I want to read it in detail because it's an inside piece that is going to probably break over the weekend. But what Vallely put out as a notice to myself and others is that a whistleblower in the administration has come forward and said that President Obama was not made aware of the fact of the attack was in process against Obama until the helicopters passed through Pakistani airspace. The reason being that the head of the CIA, Leon Panetta, did not want to tell him because 3 times earlier, when there was going to be a launched attack by our military and CIA, Valerie Jarrett shut it down. Valerie Jarrett got in the president's head and said, no, don't go forward. If there's a problem, the political ramifications of you losing SEALs and all of this will devastate us for our re-election. So he shut down 2 to 3 missions ready to go, green lighted, ready to go. So Panetta finally said, I'll read it to you Monday or so, finally said, we ain't telling this guy. And he actually used internal methodology to work around president to implement an executive order, and once it crossed into space, they went and got the president, brought him in, remember he's in his golf clothes and all of that, told him about it, and the true story is He did not want to, and we knew this, he did not want this attack to go forward. He was put in a position where he had to sign off on it, and he got the credit for it undeservedly. We'll talk about that more in the future. I do not give him credit for signing off on Osama bin Laden because he did not. Leon Panetta did.
So this whole thing he's been taking credit for on all his campaign trail, he had very little to do with it. And
very little to do with it. It's all bluster and politics. So, but we'll straighten you guys out. Thank you once again for spending an hour with us. We appreciate it. This is Tom Trento saying goodbye for the team. Have a wonderful weekend. Get out and work for a good candidate. And guess what? We're going to win this thing. Then we're going to have a blast starting November 7th. See you. Tom Trento signing off.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas